So I know y'all can't see me. There you go. But you will, because I'm walking to the beach. But someone hit me up last night and asked me to do a Storytime video. So before I get super busy, that's what I'm going to do for y'all today. When I get to the beach, you know, walking barefoot. Made it to the beach. It's quiet where we are. Always love it. This water is beautiful. Like, you can see yourself. I've never been in water that's clear. You can see your feet. Alright, well, I can't vlog in the water because y'all aren't going to be able to hear me because of the waves. So I'm about to grab a seat. Hopefully so y'all can see me while I'm vlogging. Well, this is as good as the lighting is gonna get. Guess I gotta hold it the whole time. Alright, God, I'm trying to compromise with you at all these angles, man. I gotta find something that's comfortable. So give me some lights that I can work with, bro. I'm light skinned, but I look dark skinned. Come on, God. First and foremost, I just wanted to congratulate Brooke and Lynn for taking the space that they needed to mend their relationship. And the reason why I'm saying this on my vlog is because a lot of y'all have come from Brooke and Lynn's channel. I read through the comments today, some of the comments. You can't force people to be in a relationship. And it's not time for you to pick and choose who you want to be friends with or who you want to support, or like find all the flaws that you've seen in their vlogs from each individual in that relationship. And the reason why I'm even putting this on my vlog is because I support them and I support the space that they need, because I'm actually a true friend, and a true friend is going to tell you when your relationship is fucked up and y'all need breaks. That's just how it was. I'm like, it's not healthy for them. It takes a lot of strength from Brooke and Lynn to say that, you know, their relationship is fucked up and they need space to get right. So I just wanted to say, if y'all are supporters of them, you have to support them through the thick and the thin. And it takes a lot of strength from Brooke and Lynn to say that, you know, their relationship is fucked up and they need space to get right. So I just wanted to say, if y'all are supporters of them, you have to support them through the thick and the thin. Everybody believes that a relationship should just be worked out. You shouldn't break up. You should just stick through it. Everything is good to overcome. But that's not necessarily true. I mean, people that have been in love with each other since high school and they're now 45 or 50, they get divorces all the time. It's just people grow apart, or their relationship just turns unhealthy, or people change through the years. And whether it's 2 years that you've been together, 4 years you've been together, 3, 4, 5 months, if your relationship is not healthy, you don't need to be in it. You need space from each other to grow, not to grow apart, but to grow closer together, whether that's a friendship or a relationship. So, to begin my story time, I just wanted to start off with that. And now, God damn, my hand is hurting already. Hold on. Come on, God, work with me, work with me. This'll work. Alright, so for my story time, somebody hit me up last night on Snapchat and asked me 4 questions. Yeah, I want to see a crab. Hold on. It went in this hole. Never mind. Got better success at this bench. Not really. Fuck. God is not willing to compromise with me, y'all. So her 4 questions were: 1, what is my coming out story? 2, what's my background? 3, what was my injury? And 4, am I married? I'm 22 years old. I turned 23 December 5th. My background story, I'm answering them out of order because this makes sense in my head. My background story, I'm from Columbia, South Carolina, basically born and raised. My parents are from Roanoke Rapids or Gaston, North Carolina. That's basically the country. Like, to get to where they live at, you pass cows and dirt and cotton fields and all of that jazz. So that's where they're from. So I used to spend a lot of my summers there. Background. I used to get in trouble a lot for shit that I didn't do. So my parents found any and everything that they could to... This is also going to be about my coming out story. So my parents tried to find any and everything they could to occupy my time, whether that was sports, a lot of sports, like year-round sports, Girl Scouts, which I hated, or just sending me to my grandparents' house, spending the summer with them. And the reason why I bring that up is because my background story is us playing sports. I played basketball my entire life. I've also dabbled in softball, soccer. Elementary school, I dabbled in recreational track, but maybe for like a year or so. Then I quit. I didn't like running. I played volleyball. I don't know if I said that. I dabbled in gymnastics for a little bit. Yeah, I think that's it. Nope, I did tennis at this camp. We went in camps all the time, summer camps. They did that to me. And that's coming into like middle school and stuff is when I started playing school sports. That's also when I came out to my parents. My grandma on my mom's side died as I was going into middle school. And to be honest, that was like the only person that I felt like loved me from who I am. And my parents are, I wouldn't say down to heart Christians. My dad was a deacon at some point in his life. I don't think he's a deacon at the church anymore. My mom faithfully went to church every Sunday. So they would force me to church. They would force me in dresses. They would force me to dress a certain way. They would force the Bible into everything. So when I came out to my parents, I actually came out to my mom first. It was at like 1:30 in the morning. I went downstairs in the bathroom and sent my mom a text message. I asked her if she was up. She was like, yeah. So then I told her that I think that I'm bisexual. Because I knew if I was a lesbian, that would just throw things out. I feel like everybody that comes out to their parents is bisexual before they say that they gay. But she said she thought about it too, and she was in school, all this other shit. She said it was a stage. When I promise y'all, that next day when we woke up, it felt like I didn't exist in the house. Like, my mom just like ignored me. It was just so cold, like, and that was just the beginning of hell. Like, not even hell. That was the beginning of an ice age for me. Everything in my life was basically frozen. I didn't exist. I felt like a ghost. I felt like a stranger in my own home. I don't want to go too far into details. I know that's what y'all want from story times, but it's just something that I'm not willing to go through in my mind mentally. Because with that, I also was getting bullied in school because I was a tomboy. I looked like a boy. I'm muscular, etc., etc. So I had anger management issues. I attempted suicide twice. After the second time, I just gave up because I felt like, okay, God is telling me I need to be on this earth, so whatever. But it was just hard because, again, my mom would call me the devil's in you, you going to hell for it. It's just everything. And of course my dad was just blind to everything. Cause I tell things to my mom because she's another woman, and I would just think that since they're married, they would have communication. So, hey, David, the kid told me this today. But that never happens. Like I said, when I told my mom, everything was just negative. And then I would get irritated with my mom because she's treating me a certain type of way. And then me and my mom would get in kind of an argument. Then my dad would just hop in and like make it even worse because he doesn't actually know what's going on. So yeah, that's that. So I'm just gonna skip through that. That was basically middle school, the entire middle school. And then I told my dad, I think going into high school, I don't remember what happened, but all I know is that we were in the garage, and I told him that I like girls, and then he was just pissed off, like he was just pissed off. So then that made everything between me and him awkward. It's so vague now. Like, I'm 20, 22, going on 23, and y'all have me think about shit that I was, 12, 13, and 14 for. Yeah, we got in an argument. Me and my dad got in fights before. A lot of shit. So basically, fast forwarding, when I got into high school and I was in like the 11th grade, I kept telling my mom to cut my hair. Not because I wanted to look like a boy. One, I just didn't like hair. I hated every time she gave me a perm. Hated every time I had to sit in her room for her to flat iron it. I hated every time I had to do anything with my hair. So I kept warning her at the time, I'm gonna cut my hair, I'm gonna cut my hair, I'm gonna cut my hair. She's like, no, you're not. I said, yes, I am. So senior year, I was gonna cut my hair before graduation, but she didn't want me to have my hair cut for graduation pictures. So I gave her that. I waited until after I graduated to cut my hair, but it was literally like a week after graduation. I told my mom to cut my hair. She said, "No, you're not." So I went to go get my hair cut, came home, took a picture, and I walked in the house, and I was like, "Do you like my haircut?" And she was pissed off. She was in the room. She told me to close the door, and then that was that. And then I went downstairs and outside in that backyard, and I was like, "Hey, Dad, you like my haircut?" And he was like, "No, you look like a boy." And then he closed the door, and that was that. Um, like that whole time from like the beginning of middle school when I told my mom that I was gay until like my second year of college, it was just, my life was just awkward. I didn't really exist in my house. My parents didn't even know like who I was because I was growing so much throughout the time. They didn't understand my mindset. They didn't understand like my dreams, like what I wanted to do. And I also started picking up like music and poetry when I was in the 6th grade. My grandma died because that was the only way I could deal with like the pain. So this whole time throughout coming out stories, well, throughout my coming out history and like the bullshit that I was dealing with my parents, I was also putting that in my music along with the relationships that I was going through. Everything was going into music or poems just so I can like release that energy. That was the only way that I could. Sorry that my story time isn't really like that in depth, but once you go through something for so long, you really don't want to remember it. Alright, so going into college, I got a basketball scholarship last minute to Queen's University of Charlotte. I took it because I wanted to be close to my family, but I wanted to be far enough that I could still be me. And then I had just recently had a niece, so I didn't want to be too far away from her. So that was cool. The basketball season didn't go as well as I planned because my teammates just gave me hell. Yeah. So along with that, my parents would come to the game. And this is also when I first met Lex. My parents would also come to the games, and they would talk and laugh with my other sister when they were there. And then the moment the game was over with and I walked over there, it was like we didn't know each other. Like I just sat beside them. We didn't talk. There wasn't laughter. It would look like I was adopted into the family. Like I was just recently adopted into the family. And then Lex would ask me like, "Yo, what's up with your parents? Like it's just weird. Like we see them laughing with your sister. They just don't seem like they're the same person with you." So that's when I broke down. I told Lex, my history and stuff like that. So that summer, I actually stayed with Lex because I told my parents before I even went to college, I'm like, "Look, if we don't figure out what's going on between us, like when I go to college, y'all are never going to see me again. I'm never going to come home for holidays. I'm never going to come home on breaks. Like I'm never going to come home. The only time you see me is if you come to competition." And I was serious. I didn't go home for Thanksgiving. Actually, they left me and they went somewhere else. So I had Thanksgiving in Columbia with my neighbor. Yeah. Then I think I went home for Christmas for a couple of days, and then I went back to Charlotte. And the second year I stayed in Charlotte with Lex for Thanksgiving. I went home a little bit for Christmas, and then I went back and spent the rest of it with Lex and her people. Yeah, I was just distancing myself away from them. And at some point, I don't remember what point, I think it was my sophomore year, I was skeptical about introducing Lex to my parents because at the time we weren't in a relationship. We were just friends. And but every time I introduced anybody to my parents, especially like when I was in high school or middle school, my parents would just make it really awkward. Like when my female friends came over to the house, they would just, like my mom, legit, she would come home at like 5 o'clock. If I had a female in the living room or like the bonus room with the door open, I'm sitting on one couch, she's sitting on the other couch. My mom would walk up, I would say, "Hey mom," and she would just head nod and just keep walking. Like that's it. It was just really awkward. So I never wanted Lex to meet my parents because I didn't want her to feel that. But surprisingly, my parents like started talking to her a little bit more. And I'm not gonna lie, like Lex is a very unique individual, so it is very easy to love Lex. It's very easy to love Lex, to be around Lex, to talk to her. And so that was a relief off of my shoulders. Let me dabble on Lex a little bit. So my first year when I met Lex, it it was when I was visiting before I had committed to the university. And I met the team, and I asked my teammate who she was, and she told me her name, and I said, okay, is she gay? She said, yeah, but she's in a relationship with somebody for like 6 years. So I was like, all right, cool. I'm just not going to talk to this chick at all, like, ever. Um, it was just something about Lex when I met her that I knew that she was special to me anyways. So I was like, I'm not going to be a homewrecker. I'm not going to... I was never really that type of person anyway. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to stay away from her at all costs. Now, as soon as I committed to the school, the coach made her, like, keep her eye out on me because I would make stupid videos, like random videos. I called them random episodes. Maybe I'll make them public so y'all can see it. But I called them random episodes. I would just go around doing very childish stuff in public, and it was basically vlogging before we called it vlogging. So my coach made her like keep an eye out on me to make sure that I was behaving, that I wasn't cussing on social media, and all of that. So another force of her having to speak to me, but I kept it very vague. We really didn't talk that often. A lot of stuff. So when I came to school and we started like, working out, lifting weights and stuff, a few months go by, and my coach makes her like my workout partner. So I'm still keeping it friendly or whatever. Me and Lex never hung out outside of like the sport of basketball, basically, or in general. Like we had our separate lives. And then the manager name is Moya, and her were best friends. Me and Moya were gonna hang out, and Lex happened to come over, and that was the first time that I ever hung out with her. And we went to, I think we went to the mall. And now we did go to the mall because I was taking funny pictures in that like three-way mirror or whatever. And that was the first time me and Lex actually hung out with each other. And we're like, yo, like, this is really cool. Like, you're a really cool person. Lex is like, you're really funny. Like, we have fun. So that's when all three of us started hanging out. Me and Lex got closer, et cetera, et cetera. But we kept it at a friend level. We didn't really talk much. Like, we didn't text each other. We weren't talking to each other a lot on social media and stuff like that. Until one night, we were talking, and this is November 14th. So this is November 14th, but I'm not going to tell you what year it was. Because, yeah. So anyways, she told me that she was in there, like, I was just asking her, like, what was up? Like, she hit me up because it was late at night, and she was procrastinating on doing her homework or reading or something. So we started talking, and we eventually got on, like, the relationship topic, and she told me that her and her little boo thing or whatever, they weren't really on good terms, or, I don't know, something. And I told her that I was just, basically chilling, and I was, hey, man, at the time, she wasn't together. They weren't together. So I didn't feel that bad about anything. But then we became a little bit closer as far as like getting to know each other. All right, I'm gonna get off of the Lex topic only because I do publicize everything, and Lex is actually friends with her ex, and I'm not really gonna like overstep any boundaries. Now, if I ask Lex to come out here and tell us her story, that means that she's okay with me publicizing everything. So I'm only gonna tell about me and Lex when the time comes. Yep. Okay. So that's just me respecting the person that I'm in a relationship with. Okay. So yeah. So Lex met her parents, and actually I think Lex meeting my parents helped our relationship, me and my parents' relationship, heal, because my parents started to acknowledge me. We actually had conversations that made sense. They started to get to know who I was a little bit more. They liked being around Lex. My mom would ask questions about Lex, how's Lex doing, all this other stuff. They came to, Charlotte to support Lex at one of her museum events. Like, it was just, my life started to come together. All right, so now I'm going to fast forward from sophomore year to college to my senior year of college. Senior year of college, me and Lex are dating. Okay, pause. Let me back up. My junior year of college, me and Lex started dating in August, but we broke up. Oh, and y'all gotta understand, like, I love Lex to death, and the reason why is because I just don't like when I can make somebody happy but they're hurt, and I just don't like when I'm madly in love with somebody but they're hurt and stuff like that. So that was me and Lex. So when we finally got in a relationship, I told her that I wasn't gonna, cause we kept going back and forth anyways. Cause she wanted to be with me, but then she would want to fix things with her ex. But then she wanted to be with me, but then she wanted to fix things with her ex. It was just too much back and forth. So I'm like, Lex, like, we're never gonna get in a relationship until you tell me that you're ready. So August, nah, the end of July came around, and she kept telling me that she was ready. She kept telling me that she was ready. So I asked her out, and we made it official in August. But we broke up August, September, October. So we broke up in like October, November, and no, we broke up in December because it was the week of my birthday. And I was just, I couldn't do it. Lex started changing, but not in like a bad way. It was just like we needed space. Lex wasn't ready for a relationship as well as she thought she was. It was hurting me more to be in it than to be out of it. So that's what I'm saying. Like with the whole Brooke, and when the whole Brooke and shit, it's just like I've been there, I've done that. All right, I invested 3 years into somebody, but I knew that I needed the break from her. If you love something, you let it go, and if it comes back, that's how you know. You have to, if it comes to that point, like you have to be able to step away from that relationship and be like, this is wrong, it shouldn't be like this, and give that person space to figure out what they need, or to give yourself space to figure out what you need. So I gave Lex that space. I ignored her forever because I didn't want to talk to her. It's just when I break up with somebody, I can't get over you until I have space. I completely zone you out. I could be cold. Like, Lex would text me and I would send her this emoji and just be really short with her because I didn't want to open myself back up to somebody that I may or may not be back in a relationship with. So that was that. I was heartbroken again for a long time. And people be like, well, you just shouldn't put up with it and all this other stuff. But I'm like, y'all don't understand. Like, love is love. Love is hard to get rid of. And love is something that I can't explain it. Love is there are different types of love. I don't really care what people say. There's love that's going to teach you something. There's love that's going to help you grow. And there's love that's just everlasting. So every relationship is either a lesson or it's meant to be. You know what I'm saying? Like, all my past relationships, I love the person, but it wasn't like the love that I would marry you type of stuff. It was just like, I love you. Okay, we broke up. I learned a lot. I know that I don't want this in a relationship. I know how to act during this in a relationship. I know da-da-da-da-da-da. You go to the next relationship. Maybe you learn something about sex with that person. I don't know. But either way, you're learning. So then when the right person comes along, you know how to love that person the way that you're going to love that person. That's usually how people have successful marriages. But anyways, I got off track. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Anyways, me and Lex went to that stage of not talking, and I knew that if she came back after the shit that we already been through, I knew that if she came back, then she wouldn't want to hurt me again. So she came back in like March. Yeah, she came back in like March because we started going to a baseball game. This nigga, everything started working out very well. I had moved into my apartment in May. Turns out this chick moved into my apartment in May too. But I didn't want to live where I was living at. I lived 15 minutes away from school and on the east side of Charlotte, and I wanted to be a little bit closer to Uptown. And Lex did too. But since we had broke up, I wasn't about to wait for her to get my place. So by default, I had to go to the east side, and the rent was a lot cheaper, but it's not where I wanted to be at. So we had to suck it up for a year, and that's why we moved into this newer place. But yeah, so me and my parents are good now as far as my coming out story. Lex and I are great. We're still working out some things, but we're good. So yeah, my parents are good. Actually, we're in Florida right now, and I came to Florida on Sunday, Lex went to my parents' house on Wednesday night and slept at their house, and then she followed them to Florida on Thursday. So that's just, I guess, a testimony for y'all. Like, if y'all are going through some stuff, you're either gonna grow through it on your own, or your parents are gonna come around to it and eventually accept you for who you are. So either way, you're gonna grow and just be strong enough to handle it, or you're still gonna grow and be strong enough to handle it, but your parents will come around. So just always know that. So the last question that this chick asked me was, am I married? No, I'm not married at all. The only time you see me post anything on Snapchat or on Instagram about a freaking ring is for her missus, because I'm married in that web series. But yeah, I'm not married. Will I marry Lex? Seems to be like the next question that will pop up in comments. Yes, I will marry Lex. Will it be soon? Will it be a while ago? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's on my time. I feel like if I proposed to her tomorrow, she wouldn't say no. But I'm not worried about her ex coming back in the picture and her like jumping back into a relationship with her. I'm not worried about any of that. But out of respect for myself, I want us to be together for at least a year officially. She wanted me to graduate from college, but you already seen that I did that. It's really whenever I want to do it, I will make her my fiance. I'm more than certain that she's the one for me to be with forever. And just a lot of stuff this week has actually reinsured that. It's just funny how God works, because I'm cool with all of my exes to the point where I can call any of them up like right now, have a conversation with them, and be like, hey, I'm just checking in with you. How are you doing? How's life? How's the baby? Yes, one of my exes have a kid. 3 of my exes have kids. Yeah, but I can just call any of them on a friend conversation and be cool with them and have a conversation about how they're doing. But there was one particular ex that just hated me to death, and I'm like, I don't understand how you can hate somebody so much when you were wrong. But over the years, I'm like, shit. If the whole time you've been in a relationship with somebody and you blame them for things that they really didn't have, that you blame them for things that wasn't their fault, and then y'all break up for good, I would hate that person too, I wouldn't hate the person. I would ignore the person too, because eventually you're gonna realize it was never that person's fault. And now you just feel bad that you put them in that position forever, like for so long, that you just don't want to talk to them. But in the last like month, that one particular ex has hit me up, and we just kind of like cleared the air, and we both moved on, and I had a conversation with her like, so like, how's life? Like, what's going on? And it was cool. Like we cleared that up. So like I said, it's funny how God works. Y'all, I either just saw a shark or I just saw a dolphin. Oh, they're dolphins. I don't know if I can show y'all, because it seems like every animal I walk towards disappears. But yeah, that was the end of my coming out story. Maybe I can get Lex to talk about our relationship. I'll see. I forgot to tell y'all why my exes talking to me is important. I move on better with closure. So the fact that I have closure from my past means that I can move forward to my future. With that being said, once Lex has the appropriate closure for her, then I will feel more comfortable proposing to her. Again, if I asked her to marry me tomorrow, I highly doubt she would say no. But I don't want to put her in a position either, I'm not worried about her declining my offer. Part of being an adult in marriage and relationships is just being confident with who you are, what you have, your status. To go edit this video, grab me some breakfast, and call it a day. Just hang out with my parents today and Lex, and yeah,